Who
Can you
what?
like turn the fan on?
Can you bring it back?
I am so
It's on her phone.
The fan?
No, she needs to get a presentation.
Oh, can we turn on
No,
the
no,
fan?
the
Yeah,
present.
Do you mind
No.
if we turn on the fan?
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh,
Oh, is it not? Okay.
Second switch.
Okay, wait a minute.
Somebody else did. There you go.
Oh, somebody turned it off.
Put the switch on.
This thing on?
Right over there.
Is it on or what?
It's the second switch,
we
I
can
think.
just crack it.
Oh, oh,
Oh,
oh.
just-
Hey!
I need to hold it down.
Hoppa. Okay.
How much do you want?
Let's do medium, not to freak people out.
Okay.
That's good.
All right, so Suzette, can I have the questions? Yeah. So group number one. Where is group number one? The lead. So go quickly and tell us your brief response to each one of these questions as soon as the chairs up. You can start. Read the question and what you guys came up with as a response.
Okay. In your opinion, what are the attributes of a strong human being? We wrote integrity, wisdom, confidence, a good moral compass, perseverance, security, and patience.
Excellent.
I know.
Any other response from your group? Anyone wants to add to that?
You said resilient.
Okay, so hold on.
Our group.
So group number two. Group number two. So we keep that organized. Is there anything to add to what you just said?
Hardworking, compassion, admitting to their mistakes, and trustful.
These are really very good attributes. Group number three. Anything to add to group one and two?
Yeah, we are actually original, so we said someone who can differentiate between constructive criticism and just blatant insults.
Oh, so you said
Good job,
somebody's not
Mr.
considered.
Group number four. Resilience, right? So just remember all these attributes. There's a lot of good stuff here. There's a lot of good stuff. The only thing about it is each one of these things, as you all know, it's not easy to implement, but remember that. So I'm going to start with group number four on question number two.
Nice.
Can you give examples from the Bible of some of the people? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we got three. We said Joseph. Do you want me to explain it or just say the?
Just Joseph, why? Just
Okay.
one or two attributes.
Yeah. So Joseph, just because we were going off the resilient part, his brothers betrayed him, and he went to Egypt, and then stuff happened. He got to jail, so he kept getting broken down, and he just kept rising back up. We said Job because he went through the same thing. Everything he loved was taken. We said Paul because when he was trying to first.
Guys, listen, please.
When he was trying to first start preaching, he even got backlash from the apostles saying no, he can't preach. He was torturing Christians or delivering them up, and then why is he teaching the Gentiles and all that? So even from the apostles, he was getting backlash, but he never backed down.
Excellent. Group number three. What do you want to add to that? I'm going back and forth.
We said Daniel because we liked his characteristics he was exhibiting from, when the king wanted him to eat like the certain meat, and obviously everyone around him was from the same area as him and doing the same stuff, but he was like the only one. Him and his friends were the only ones that stood up for what he believed in, even though he was in the face of like power, kind of. And then we also said Job. Did you guys say that? Oh.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, yeah, Job's
But you
been
can
said.
explain it.
And we said Joseph too, so we got the same one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to remember those personalities, right? Number, who's this next group two? Is it?
We said Job, but they already said
Wow.
we said David because of the trials and the ups and downs that he had through his life, and him falling into sin and repenting and going back. I guess giving up on his sin and trusting in, he believed to have the heart of God throughout his whole life.
Amazing. His life is amazing. Group one.
One? Well, we said Joseph, Paul, and Job, but we also said St. Mary.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
She was strong.
It's about time to give women credit in the Bible, right?
Well, yeah. But Saint Mary was she was obedient. She was a teenager and she was told that she was gonna do something that most teenagers cannot handle. And she did it gracefully, and then when her son was going to die on the cross, she did that gracefully too. She was just really strong.
St. Mary is the pride of humanity, I can tell you that. So let's go, so that was group
Can I
one.
just add something
Sure.
because she said St. Mary? So speaking of Pope Shenouda, I was listening to one of his sermons recently, and I've heard this before, but it just stopped me this time. He said about St. Mary that she was the only person in humanity that could have been the mother of God because of her humility. And he said many saints could have endured the trials and tribulations St. Mary endured, but no one else could have endured the glory and remained humble.
Wow.
It was really profound. No one else could endure the glory.
And by the way, she's still doing that.
Yeah.
You never see her like when she show, you know. So we started with group, okay, so go back to group one to go to question number 3. What is, can you give examples from history other than the Bible? History this time.
Good one. That's a good one.
Group one.
I mean, you want good or bad examples or both?
No, the strong human, strong human being. The bads that will be,
So not who's
will be
the-
okay.
I said Hitler.
That's your challenge now, okay.
Martin Luther King
Mhm.
Jr.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's gonna get harder, by the way.
he had beliefs and he stuck to them, and he vocalized them peacefully, even when a lot of people around him turn to violence, and it makes it easy to become violent. Winston Churchill, I don't really know. I like Hitler more.
But that's good, you're brainstorming. Good. So Martin Luther
Great
King.
moral compass.
Okay.
No, but he was strong. We're
He
not
was
saying
strong,
he was right,
yeah.
but he was strong in what he did. Like, he convinced a lot of people.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
strong
That was
and
the right
vain,
thing.
so therefore
Okay.
he's
No, but
like
he's
the
still
strong.
Alright, the discussion time is over, this is presenting your case.
Yeah.
That's the whole
We're
idea.
not in the same group, so I
Oh.
argue.
Yeah.
We are one team now, go ahead.
That's all we have on this.
Okay, group number 2.
Well, we put Martin Luther King.
Really?
And then, Nelson Mandela.
Oh, no, okay.
How he
Awesome perseverance.
extreme, he stuck to his beliefs, and he was fighting for, freedom and equality and liberty for everyone in South Africa.
Well, guys, listen here, just listen. Very important, good. So Nelson, I never, yeah, that's interesting. Number 3, because there's one that I thought you guys were gonna mention, but anyway, go number 3.
Number 3?
Yeah.
Oh, so we had,
Abraham Lincoln.
Just like all the,
yeah, so we had like Rosa Parks, Abraham Lincoln,
all the presidents are
Mahatma
pretty
Gandhi.
strong.
Gandhi, okay, good. He mentioned Gandhi, even though he's not Christian, but it's good to mention because we're not, we don't know how he died, so that's something we need to think about. He actually had great respect for Christ. So anyway, something to do. Very good. Number 4. Number 3, number 4, not 4.
We were 3.
Yeah.
We said MLK, and then we said Gandhi.
Wow.
He was able to,
Good.
start a positive movement without nothing. He just gained traction. And then we also said Diocletian, just because, we went back. And then, because he threatened generations using his power. Like,
Correct. You know that Gandhi fought the British Empire without single bullet fire? This is very interesting. I thought guys like me and Mike should walk out so he can talk about us, but that's okay, Mike. We
don't come close.
All right. Question, I'll start with group number 4 now, right? Reverse. What obstacles are in the way of becoming, this is what the class is going to be about, but I just want you to start injecting your ideas on it. So,
What's the second? Is the second part of it like a separate question?
or should this be a goal to reach in life? I would say just you can combine it, obstacle. Some people say, yeah, I have an obstacle, but that's my goal.
Okay.
So, yeah,
So,
to
the
overcome.
obstacles, you're gonna feel pressure on your society to do what they do, like MLK, just be like not have the same rights or all the other people we were talking about, and even though that they have their own different beliefs, and then like people doubting, I'm pretty sure people part of every movement, even the civil rights, Gandhi's against the British Empire, people in that movement doubted like it was actually going to work, like this is going to be for nothing.
Excellent.
And then the goal is we should stand up for what we believe in, but you also have to understand the other side is probably doing the same things. You also have to take that into account, like it's good and bad. Like even like Hitler had something he believed in, and he went for it, and so we should take that the determination, and even from the bad side, we should be that determined for the good thing that we're fighting for.
Interesting, go ahead, Mike.
This weekend, what are we celebrating?
Veterans Day.
On a global scale.
What is?
The bringing down of the Berlin Wall.
The Berlin Wall.
30 years ago, right?
Yep, awesome.
So, I was surprised. I thought somebody would have actually mentioned like John Paul II. John Paul II, Margaret Thatcher, and Ronald Reagan, 3 individuals that brought down communism in the spread of the brink of World War III during my lifetime. I mean, back in the 80s, we were that close from having a nuclear holocaust, right? So that was something that I'm surprised nobody thought about a religious figure as JP II, John Paul II.
Excellent. Group number 3.
Us. 1 or 3.
So we're going 4, 3, 2, 1,
Okay.
and then this one will be the
So 3
reverse.
right now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's us. What obstacles? We just felt like lack of energy to deal with like backlash you may get. Like it just like takes a lot to be able to say what you want to say and stand up for something, and then like deal with everyone saying what they thought of it after. Like sometimes I don't want to deal with that. Also, fear of being misunderstood. You might say something and like no one gets you and you're so alone after that. Fear of just being alone, I guess. Yeah.
So just remember, these obstacles is what you guys defined as what attributes. So remember? So we're trying to close the loop. Okay, group number 2.
So what we thought for number 4 was they're stopping the person from being a strong human being is their themselves, arrogance, narcissism, pride, not willing to learn new things or view other things from a different point of view. And that's like kind of one of the things that kind of can stop. It's a pitfall for a strong human.
So if I summarize it, the obstacle is you.
Yeah, it starts with
Is that what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I guess the goal would be like just to always try better yourself, and if you fall, you try to get back up.
Excellent. This is all good stuff, guys. So 1.
So originally on this paper we wrote everything Bullock said, but I also, as he was saying it, I thought of another thing.
You're not being loyal to your group.
I know. Well,
She has her butt.
I never declared loyalty, so it's kind of like not just you can put your not be the hindrance to being a strong human being, but like other people around you can be too.
Oh.
Like they can fight you every step of the way and try to tear you down. So that's all. I
Wow.
came up with.
Even people that are close to you sometimes.
Yeah.
And like you respect their opinions, so sometimes you don't do something you were gonna do.
We as Sunday school teachers, and I don't mind saying it for myself, I can be an obstacle to you by giving you a class, then you see me out there doing something exactly the opposite of what I've been preaching about. Happens a lot. So we have a responsibility. Once I stand here with Mike and Suzette, we stand here, we have a responsibility towards you guys, how we deal with ourselves outside this class. So are there any additional comments that can be pursued as a result of subject matter? I'm going to make that open discussion. Anyone can speak. There's something showed up there. Okay, I don't want to know about it.
I missed it. I didn't see it.
Why are you texting her when you know her phone is there?
I didn't know it was hers.
Suzette, I'll talk to you later after the class. Okay, guys, let's go back because we're running out of time. Are there any additional comments? Okay, time out. I'm trying to save the day for Suzanne. All right, are there additional comments? Anything you want to say before I get into the class? So the class, just 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, so now we're going to go to the class. So the class is basically a combination of points that I have accumulated through listening to, as I mentioned to you, Pop Shenouda, myself, lessons learned from my own life, and dealing with things and throughout, and Now, let me tell you one thing before we even start looking at all these points is, think of this as me talking to myself, and you are all listening, because if I tell you that I follow each one of these points, the one who is preaching to you, I'll be a hypocrite. These are my goals. If you come to an example, self-control, this is my goal. None of these things represent that this is who am I, because that will take me a lifetime, and only Christ is my ultimate judge. So if you go back, a strong human being. We're going to go through a couple of these points to highlight the strength of a human being. It overlaps many of the things you say, and also some of these points are overlapping, but if you think of it like the sun, it has different rays. The core is the same, but they're slightly overlapping, but they're heading in different directions. So, a Christian must be strong because he or she is an image of God. Christ was strong. When we are created in the image of God, the only way we can survive, let me put it to you this way, we must be in the image of God. It's not an option. And why is that? Because that's the only way we can survive on the surface of this planet, and also make sure we can take care of it. In other words, we have been declared by God to be godly creatures for a godly mission. So us being created in the image of God is not an option. There is no point in discussing that man came from a monkey, or man came from the fish, or came from nowhere, or a big bang. That's not what it is. The people who are telling you these things are missing the point. And the point is, we must be godly in order to survive. Why? We don't see God around. Does anybody, let's look at it. Is he around? We can go visit? Can we text? No. Why? Because he entrusted us to be able to take care of things for him while he doesn't necessarily have to be physically there among us. So he said, I'm going to make you in my image so you can take care of things. This is what the scientists are missing. This is what the people who come up with all these theories of independence from God are missing the point. We have no choice but to be like in his image. That is a sign of a strong person. It's not a choice, it's a requirement. God bless you. Question number 2, the complete personality of a strong human being, and I think you guys are now, it's old news for you. Humble, somebody said it before. Forgiving, with self-control, exhibits no anger. This is my biggest weakness. Mike can attest to that. What happens? Because all of that talks about self-control. If you follow Corinthians 1, you guys don't know 1 Corinthians 13? If you don't, I strongly recommend to learn it by heart. Just like our Father who art in heaven, this should be your next thing to learn by heart. 1 Corinthians 13 is very easy. It's as long as our Father who art in heaven, maybe 1.5 times, something like that. It really manifests who you are. If you just follow 1 Corinthians 13, you are the happiest person on earth. You are probably the richest person on earth, richer than any billionaire. Because you have achieved what billionaires could not achieve, what most people in this world cannot achieve. And I'm going to let you read that on your own. It's about the one on love, what love is all about. That's the function of a strong human being. Number 3, self-control. So we talked about self-control here. Now let's talk a little bit more about what self-control is. Is able to control oneself emotionally, or in desires, or in temptations. Pride, moving away from self-centering, not judging, not enslaved by habits, drugs, or materialism. This is we, human beings, this is what Satan has done to us. This is where he defeated us, unfortunately, in our, I don't know when he showed up to Eve, and then he dragged her into sin, and Adam Maybe the next day or Monday morning, Tuesday morning, we don't know. The Bible never told us, but after we know that later on he showed up and messed everything up for us. Maybe it took years, ages, nobody knows. At that time, time didn't mean anything. And I mentioned that, by the way, a little bit of that in the book, in the word book that I told you guys about. What is the significance of time before the sin of Adam and Eve? So self-control. This is our biggest dilemma in life. Honestly, this is one area that I'm trying, a goal to try to say, yeah, I achieved, self-control emotionally, temptations, pride, moving away. If you look at every organization, our church today, schooling, family, friendship, this is all, if you go look at the root cause for why we have trouble in life, you're going to point out to one of these 3 things, or whatever, 5 or 6, 7 things. Number 4, strengths. Now here's the good stuff. So now this is going downhill. This is trying to go uphill. How much energy does an aeroplane do when it lands versus when it takes off? Huge difference. You know that if the most dangerous part of an aeroplane is takeoff and landing. Takeoff is more dangerous than landing. Why? Because it needs energy against gravity. Coming down, he just needs to glide down. Not too much energy. This is no different. So strength is winning people, not making enemies. Well, you know, I love all Christians, but I hate all Muslims. That's not strength either. In picking up lost toys and not being a source of temptation for others. You could be loving all your enemies. You could be picking lost toys left and right. But you forgot to realize that tempting others and making them fall to sin is not an attribute of a strong person. Number 5, a strong person is focused in looking. Sorry?
What do you mean of temptation for
Uh,
others? You are a temptation to others.
Invite them to do
the
that.
temptation meaning,
the things you do.
like for example, I mean, this could be a class by itself. A temptation, especially, I guess it goes where you are, people look at you and maybe follow you're not setting a good example of certain things. Like, for example, you are teaching your daughters how to, or your friends, how to work around their parents to go and meet somewhere. I'm just, it's not something we always do without even knowing. Who texted you today, just now? See, that's a temptation. That's a good example right there, she's behind you. So, a strong person, see, when am I here? Sorry. A strong person is focused in looking after this is very important, weakness before you start judging other people. Many times I pick a fight with my wife, for example, or whatever, and then I realize she is right. She's actually trying to make me a better person. But because I have this ego thing and all of that, and men, you know how men are, and how could I be coached and all of that, then a strong person is focused on not on what's wrong with others. A strong person is always building and mending, not criticizing and dividing, and oh my God, isn't that what we do since we wake up in the morning? What's the news says? How can I destroy the other party? I'm sorry to say that we live in a very divisive country right now. No mending. We don't do this anymore. We as a nation has abandoned this whole idea of working together as a team and building, and we're looking for ways of destroying and criticizing. We are supposed to be a Christian nation. We're supposed to be a light to the rest of the world. We are becoming no different than the rest of the world. Why do you think the Middle East, why do you think we all moved to this country here? Why do so many Christians have immigrated? Because we lived in a divisive, criticizing nations that don't want to. We are the pioneers of human civilization. And look where the Middle East is today. The pioneers of destruction. That's where we are. And you guys know, read the news and you know the rest of it. Number 7. We have, 15 points. Number 7. A strong man, 7 and 8, that's trouble. and this is probably the toughest two that I'm going to talk about today. A strong man respects women and beheld and respects their feminism. And please just hold on to your comments. and not sees it as a source of entertainment. And I'm talking to the men in the room. Women, please listen. A female is not for our entertainment. It's not meant to be what social media is portraying her. And if we buy into all of this, we fail to be the strong human being that we should be. Because feminism is not for fun. God did not create Eve for the fun of Adam, which is what we have turned out to be. Women are fascinating human beings. That's why I am personally married to one of them, and I said this before. It doesn't make sense to jump from one fascinating being to another fascinating being. Also, women are the property of God. They were never the property of man. You trespass them, you trespass him, he will trespass you and seek you to the center of the earth. He does not forget. Even if we forgot that we trespassed other women in our lives, which whatever means, he does not, and he won't let it go. And having said that, is there anything to say to the women? Of course there is. So let's go to the next point. A strong woman respects a man and upholds and respects his masculinity and not see it as a source of attracting attention. Again, bear with me, gentlemen. What is that supposed to mean? Yes, women have the power. And don't talk to me, I'm not the designer. Talk to Christ, talk to God. They have the power to attract men. They have the power to attract them in an appropriate way or inappropriate way. The question I have for women, do you want to have a marriage relationship based on an inappropriate way? I don't think so. You don't want to build your marriage on that type of choice that you made. So, strong man understands feminism when it comes to feminism and upheld it. A strong woman understands masculinism and she upheld it as well. Because there are social attractions between the two genders, and the only reason why, because God made us in his image and told us, I'm no longer going to get involved in creating Eve or Adam. I'm going to let you guys take care of it from now on in creating more human beings, but there are responsibilities and there are things that he put down, and you all know, you're all grown up, you all know what I'm talking about, and we have to respect these differences and not to make it misused like the rest of the world is doing, and you end up unknowingly doing what the world is doing, and you end up in a bad relationship and a bad marriage because you didn't do the right choices. I'm going to leave it at that because that's a lesson by itself. I could take a whole day. A strong person thinks how to give first before taking. How many of you, first thing I wake up in the morning, think about what is the world going to do for me today? What is my boss going to do for me? What's my father and my mother and my wife is going to do for me? As soon as I wake up and drink my coffee, I realize, no, let me ask it the other way around. What am I going to do for the world? Maybe that's why I like coffee, because it fixes my brain a little bit. Anyway, my point to you is, think of it this way. Believe me, if you wake up in the morning and this is your mission in life, you really have a great day. Because the last thing that bothers us, not the last thing, the first thing that bothers us as human beings is the self, when we worry about ourselves. That ruins your day. So don't worry about yourself. Worry about others. That makes your day. Go on. So thank you. Strong person. Where am I now? Okay, a strong person. Oh wow. Sees marriage is all about the other person. It's never about you. The day you get married to the person, أبونا يقعد في الكنيسة كده ويقول لك اسمعي يا عروسة واسمعي يا عريس, which is very nice طبعا. When Abuna tells you this, the first thing you need to leave that day from the church, how am I going to make this person next to me a happy person? It's all about the other person, it's never about you. Believe me, this marriage will last forever, maybe to the second coming of Jesus Christ. A strong person is reliable, dependable, respectful, trustworthy, and never exposes the weakness of others. I think you all talked about that. The key thing here is this. And oh, don't we love do that? Social media is all about that. And when we expose that weakness, it goes viral. What is viral today? It's negative. It's all negative.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard something good went viral? Really?
Rare.
Never.
Very rare.
Dogs.
Dog
That's all I know on Christmas.
So my point is, don't we love that? Strong person never put anyone else ahead of his or her God, Lord, and Savior, Jesus Christ. What is that supposed to be? I think you guys have to do that. I do it all the time. Sometimes our God is another human being. Your boss can be your God. A woman that you saw during lunchtime can be your God. Somebody walking in the parking lot can be your God. You walk in the mall, there's something you saw there, man, I love to dress up like her, that can be your God. You do this, and it can be anything out there. It could be even a church leader. It could be anything other than God Himself. Watch out for idol worshipping. You know why the people of Israel were destroyed? The people of Israel crossed the Red Sea. The people of Israel saw God in the mountain. They were shivering. They said, Moses, you go talk to him. What is this? No, we can't deal with him. They saw him open the sea. What happens 300 years later? They went to idol worshipping. Come on, guys. Seriously? Don't ever say to yourself, and here, listen, hear me. We are the children of Saint Mark. We are the one whom Saint Athanasius, who won the road, the creed came from. We are the children of Saint Anthony the Great. We are the children of the martyrs. They are the ones who take the credit. You have to show that you deserve those people. But if you ride on that history, you are no different than the people of Israel when Jesus Christ said to them, who are you? We are the children of Abraham. Who are you? You are a son of fornication. They blamed his mother to be fooling around. That's why he is around. And what did Christ do? He told them, I am from above, but you are from down there. They called St. Mary a woman of sin, really. While these men who are in charge of their religion, they are the ones who are fooling around. So my point is,